Hello, everybody. I'm Janet Mandel. Welcome to my mini art talks. I hope this is welcome back to the next mini art talk. I hope you'll also subscribe to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to talk about one of the most original and complex paintings in Western art. There's a lot of debate about the meaning of this painting. There's even debate about who the people are in the painting. So I thought it would make for a good discussion. So here we are, and this probably look a little bit familiar to you, even if you don't know the name of the painting, which is the Arnolfini marriage. It was done in 1434, and the artist is Jan van Eyck. Now, Van Eyck was born at the very, very end of the 14th century, and he died in 1441, so we think of him as a 15th century painter. I wanted to show you, the painting is at the National Gallery of Art in London, so I kind of wanted to show you what it looks like there. You can see it's on its own wall. It's really beautiful. The colors, the vibrant, rich, and wonderful colors are really highlighted in the way that they have mounted this painting against this lilac wall here. And also notice how long the explanation card is, and that's why I told you that this painting, there are a lot of different interpretations of what this painting actually is. Even though it is called the Arnolfini marriage, it's even debated whether or not it is a wedding portrait. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Some people, scholars, think it's just simply a portrait of a couple. But I'm going to talk about the painting now, and I just want to mention before I begin a little bit about the tradition of Western art at this time. Now, usually in the 15th century, the visual language of painting was based on or was highly dependent on religious iconography. If you think about Southern Italian or Italian Renaissance paintings, almost all of the subjects are scenes from the Bible, are religious subjects. This painting is going to be a little bit different. I think that what Van Eyck was tasked to do by Arnolfini was to use some of the visual traditions of religion, but to use them in a secular way to promote or to show off his tremendous economic success. He was a banker and a merchant from Italy, Arnolfini, but he came to Bruges, and that's how he came to know Van Eyck. And I think he is trying to show the wealth and the success that he has had as a banker and a merchant in Bruges. And that's what this painting is all about, but we'll see. So I'm going to kind of move around the painting to show you the different symbols of his wealth, and also to show you how they are done in this context of religious iconography. First of all, let's look at the fact that both he and his bride-to-be, or if you think of this as a wedding portrait, are both barefoot. His clogs are here and her shoes are here next to the bed. Now, there was a belief back then that bare feet on the ground ensured fertility, and therefore hers are by the bed, his are by the window, showing that he's a citizen of the wider world. Her domain is a little bit different. Her shoes are by the bed. And of course, fertility, right, is really what marriage was all about at this time in the world, is you had to produce heirs that would carry on your name. So that's about the shoes. Now let's look at talking about wealth. Obviously, their clothes are a tremendous symbol of their wealth. Look at this. There not only is there fabric upon fabric as in the woman's dress. Look at this, how gorgeous it is. But also they're lined with fur, which obviously was very expensive. Hers here on the sleeve and his here. Interestingly, though, although this is kind of winter finery, if you notice outside the window, there's a cherry tree blossoming with cherries. But, you know, that's an artist can do whatever the artist wants. So even though it's probably not winter, he dresses them in their winter finery to show how wealthy they are. Now look at the rug down here as well. This is probably from Anatolia, from Turkey. It was imported. It was very, very expensive. And then while we're looking here, by the window, I should have pointed out, you see the oranges here and here. Oranges were also very, very expensive. They were imported from Portugal and Spain. Maybe it was something that Arnolfini himself as a merchant imported, but they also are symbols of wealth. Then I think we have to look at the furniture. That opulent bed is obviously shows their wealth. And look at that chandelier, very, very elaborate. And while we're talking about the chandelier, let me just point out the light streaming in on the chandelier really shows us how, what a wonderful painter Van Eyck was. Look at all of that. It's just absolutely amazing. Notice also, although there are many candle holders on the chandelier, there's only one candle. And this could have been the all-seeing eye of God. Now, in the 15th century, the only sacrament where you did not need a priest was the sacrament of marriage. And that's because, and maybe that's why the eye of God is there, because he is the witness to this marriage. And also a single candle lighted next to the bed of newlyweds was supposedly encouraged fertility as well. And as I said, this was the primary obligation of marriage, and especially for the wealthy. So let's also now look here at this wonderful bedstead, the headboard and bedstead here, again, a symbol of the wealth of these people. The figure here is the figure of St. Margaret. She is carved in on there in the bedstead. And the reason why we know it's St. Margaret is there's also a dragon there, and that's her attribute. She was the patron saint of childbirth, so there's no mystery there why she would be there on the bedstead. And look at also, he puts a brush, a hand brush on there as well. And the hand brush might suggest St. Martha, who was the patron saint of housewives. And this could also symbolize excuse me, chastity, because the brush would sweep out all the impurities that might be there and might indicate her chastity. So we have all of these symbols of wealth, of fruit, which are luxury goods, as I said, and the furniture and the chandelier and their clothing, etc. Let's also just go back down here to the little dog. We have to talk about him. He's not necessarily a symbol of wealth, although you had to be pretty wealthy to have a dog, because it showed that you had extra food. You weren't just feeding yourself and your family, but you had enough that you could even feed a pet. But this dog also obviously represents faithfulness and earthly love. And it's also kind of a charming and a lighthearted touch to what could be, if this is simply just a formal portrait, it could be that as well. But I wanted really, again, to talk about this, the academic debate about the purpose of this painting. And if it is indeed a wedding portrait, scholars think that, oops, let me go here. Scholars think that on the back wall there, you see above the mirror, you see Van Eyck's signature. And what it actually says in Latin is that Van Eyck was here, and it has the date of the painting. So it could simply be his signature, but it also could be that he is serving as a witness to this wedding. And as I said, you only need 2 witnesses to perform a wedding back in the 15th century. So perhaps that's what it is. But that this painting is actually a unique form of a marriage contract is what some of the scholars say. But let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into that mirror, because obviously it's a symbol of the wealth of the couple. I don't know if I talked about these prayer beads as well, which obviously you had to be very wealthy to afford them as well. But look at the mirror. Now, remember, in the painting, this mirror is really very, very tiny, but yet look at all the detail in here. This is the Passion of the Christ, and you can see all of the, I guess these are the Stations of the Cross. You can see all of them in great detail, even though it's very, very tiny, testing really to the skill of Van Eyck as a painter. But now let's look at the reflection. This is a reflection of what we're seeing when we look at the painting. And so now we're seeing the back of Arnolfini and his bride. And we see a woman here, and she's leading a man into the room. So we can assume, or scholars who think this is indeed a wedding portrait have assumed, that these are the two witnesses to the wedding, and one of them is Van Eyck. Van Eyck is here, and so he's showing himself, not with his easel painting the portrait, but he's showing him coming into the room, perhaps. That's what this is all about. Anyway, Van Eyck's Arnolfini marriage, it's an image that blends both the sacred and the secular. I hope I've made that case for you. And it confronts us when we look at the painting. We immediately are drawn into this wonderful painting. So it confronts us with what we see before our eyes, to just take in the lushness of the painting, but then it challenges us to interpret all of its ambiguous symbolism. And I think that's what great art does. It makes us reflect, and it makes us think. And that's why I think this is such a great painting. So thank you again for joining me. If you're on Facebook and you go into that little search bar and put in Janet Mandel Art Talks, my Art Talk page comes up. Just look for this logo here. And I put not only these talks, but I also put other interesting things that I found out about the art world, and I'll put them on there for people to see. I also have the YouTube channel. Please go to it and subscribe and hit the little bell so you get notifications about when I upload another talk. I'm also on Instagram, Art Talks with Janet, and I do have a website as well. You don't have to remember this URL if you just go to Google and put in Janet Mandel Art Talks, and again, look for my logo here. You'll come to the page, and on the page, of course, most of my in-person art talks have all been canceled, but I do have many that are online, and I have the schedule there if you want to see some of my longer form art talks as well. So again, thanks for coming. Come back again, and I hope everybody is being safe and is wearing their mask, and that you'll join me for my next mini art talk. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.